This is probably my favorite part because this seems to be the most Undertale part of this trailer. So this is the trailer for Undertale. It's fine. It's okay. I would say it suffers from a lot of information overload. This opening shot does a good job of immersing us in the genre. I think after this, we pretty clearly know it's some sort of RPG style game. But then when we get into the content here, and then here we get into a lot of like battle screens and stuff, they have title cards describing how this works. I'd say most of these shots, there's very little contrast as far as the title cards go. So it's really hard to read these. So this is the thing I was talking about before. So when you do the squint test on a shot like this, everything is white, everything is bright. So I'm not instantly going to go to traverse an RPG world full of unique monsters. But I do like that they have this highlight color on some of these letters. So RPG, unique, it's kind of falling in that like subjective adjective sort of territory, which I like to avoid generally in trailers because, you know, if someone says, hey, I'm a unique person, are you going to be like, oh, okay, I'll take you at your word? Same thing with a game. So if a game's saying that, hey, we're unique, it's like, I'll decide for myself. And slay them or spare them, that's a whole big part of the novelty of Undertale. And it's part of its hook, but it's sort of done in a throwaway way. This is a very features-focused trailer. It doesn't get super duper into the heart of what makes it unique. And also, to be clear, I've only played a little bit of Undertale, but I know just through cultural osmosis some of its sort of core design pillars. And I know that, you know, it's a big deal that you can play pacifist, and there's this whole like community of people who are very, very adamant that you can only play pacifist, otherwise you're playing it wrong, even though the game's designed to let you play however you want. Yeah, decide their fate, you know, make strange friends, you know, strange friends, it's like, okay, it doesn't really say a whole lot. And also you have this screen where the trailer text is fighting for attention with the gameplay text, and the gameplay text itself is not really saying anything that helps us understand the world or the characters. They're saying, I will be the one, I must be the one, I will capture a human. You know, okay, are they an antagonist character? What's going on there? And then make strange new friends, or strange friends question mark. I think there's a bunch of shots in here which maybe if you're familiar with the game, then you sort of know what's happening in this scene. But as a person coming in fresh, this doesn't really mean much of anything. It's hard to know why this is interesting. And then deadly enemies, it's like, okay, you're describing a lot of RPG games. You know, the only thing so far is that you can do fully pacifist battles. There aren't too many games that let you do that. But like the other things that they're talking about in here, you could use those as talking points for many, many other games. So it's not really super duper unique. I like this shot because this is sort of something that I will try to look for in games, which are like unique player verbs or unique moments. It's kind of very bespoke one-off moments. Like this looks like a moment in the game that only happens during this scene. Maybe it happens a whole bunch, but compared to everything that's shown before, this looks like, oh, they have some bespoke moments here rather than just always walking on overworld and then random encounters or something like that. So I like that. But most of the stuff, it's a little kind of sensory overload. You know, this is kind of quirky and weird, but I don't get much sense of the story, the premise. Like this one here, probably not actual game footage. It's like a sort of a non sequitur. This shot here is kind of in the realm of the crab game trailer. It's just kind of like, wait, what? This like little random thing in there. The friendly RPG where nobody has to die. This is probably my favorite part because this seems to be the most Undertale part of this trailer. That's a really good message for this game. The friendly RPG where nobody has to die. I think the word friendly in there is really good, and then nobody has to die. Also, those in combination, I think that creates a really good, strong message that sounds pretty unique. I mean, maybe at this point they're ones inspired by Undertale where that's more common now, but I think that's really, really good. And then they have this little flower there. Undertale available September 15th. No call to action. Need to have a call to action. Wishlist on the Steam. Where do I buy this? That's the other ding I would give on this. I'd say overall, it's a pretty average trailer. Very features focused. I don't really get a very, very good sense of what makes this game super duper unique. And like things like this, like the battle screen. So since I've played Undertale, I know that in this shot, you are the heart and you're trying to like avoid things or whatever the mechanic of that particular encounter is, you're supposed to be doing that. But like, you know, looking at the screen, if I'm coming in cold, I don't think I would pick out, oh, I'm this hard. Because one of the things that people are trying to do when they're watching a game trailer is to know where they fit in, what are they controlling, what are they doing, and that's something that this trailer doesn't help people to really understand. I'd say most of the text in here is pretty average and very common sort of text I'd see in other things, but this is really good. This part here is really good. This is something that I would probably put this at the very beginning of the trailer, actually, because if it says like, you know, all this stuff here, okay, I get it, it's an RPG, Undertale, a friendly RPG where nobody has to die. So if I use my ice cream analogy again, you know, this is saying what the food is. It's ice cream, okay, but I already have a favorite ice cream place. What is different? And then it says a friendly RPG where nobody has to die. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now let's, knowing this, watch the rest of the trailer and try to understand how that works. I think that would be much stronger for this. But other than that, I think this trailer is fairly average. And one thing, because I do know that this flower has like an evil face, so I think that that would have been a good way to finish. Also, I just noticed they used the Shatter plugin from After Effects. Having this flower be all happy and goofy, and then have like the evil twisted face, that would be a good way to end. Because like, whoa, what was happening there, you know? But other than that, it's fine. But like, he made a great game that people, many people loved, so maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, so those are my thoughts about this release trailer for Undertale.